365 Days of Sport.
Welcome to another edition of 365 Days of Sport. This is the podcast you just can't miss, although most of you have.
Have they? They probably have. Who knows? I haven't checked the numbers.
No, I don't
but
think
it's worthwhile. Listen, I listened to it last night, and we're actually quite good.
No,
I would not have believed it.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, who would have saw it coming?
Well,
my name's Rob Bryce, by the way. Thanks for the introduction.
No problems, Rob.
Yeah.
You just butted in. You got in over me before I had chance.
Is that what happened? Well, I like you was pausing, running out. You needed some material already. You know, you couldn't even introduce my name, and you're already struggling.
I know. You know I haven't got any material.
What's been going on in the life of Beefy?
Well, in a week where we've just seen the Australian cricket captain get caught cheating red-handedly.
Yes, that was pretty blatant, I think.
Pretty blatant.
They're trying to backpedal on that.
Who are?
Well, because, of course, Virat Kohli accused them of doing the entire test.
Because he did. He said they've been doing it for 3 days, but what they've been doing, nobody knows, because he wouldn't use the word.
What's the word? What do you mean?
Cheating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He wouldn't use that word.
Do they have some sort of signal system back to the...
Well, the fact that Steve Smith made like an ibis and looked towards the dressing room and went, and I think the umpires actually cottoned onto that very early on. In effect, Steve Smith got sent off.
Well, he was out, so he was going to have to go off anyway.
He was going to have to go off
so
anyway.
It wasn't... That came before the red card, I think.
Yes, but very interesting how that's come to light.
Fascinating test series. Oh, action packed.
It is so far. It is.
Yeah,
definitely. I did a bit of commentary for White Line Wireless.
Just a man about town on the commentary.
I just nipped over to Bangalore just to add my cricketing wisdom to the call.
Really? Did they appreciate it?
Probably not.
Okay,
but,
so you didn't get fired at the end?
They've invited me back for the third test already. In fact, I did a lunchtime show with them and just chatted about women's sport.
I'll look up to you sometimes.
Thanks, mate.
You know,
No, you're taller than me. You do look down. In another week, we had a Grant Hackett incident in the English Premier League.
What?
Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Man United Swedish striker, accused Bournemouth defender Tyrone Mings of throwing his head into his elbow.
He threw his head into his elbows. Oh, because we talked about the head-butting punch scenario.
Grant Hackett running into Craig's fist.
I didn't realise it was common practice for someone to headbutt another's elbow intentionally. You're not going to win that argument. No. I saw it on a Sylvester Stallone movie with big Brian Dennehy.
Oh, okay.
He would try and punch him in the head, and he would headbutt the fist, and he kept breaking his hand.
Okay.
Yeah, it was quite a.
So that was an incident. And
it might have been Jean-Claude Van Damme, actually. Anyway.
Does Brian Dennehy and Jean-Claude Van Damme look like each other?
No. Brian Dennehy's a big guy, solid lad. You know, he's the bad guy in Rambo.
Another film I've not seen, Rob. You should know this by now.
Who hasn't seen Rambo? What the hell is going on?
Well, is that the one where they play Buzkashi?
No, that's the third one.
That's Rambo 3.
Okay,
there you go.
Yeah.
In a sporting week where the stunning model girlfriend of Paraguayan footballer promised to strip naked if his team reached the cup final.
Plenty of motivation.
Well, I was going to say, Larissa Riquelme, her boyfriend is Jonathan Fabro. He plays for Chiapas in Paraguay, and she made the promise to support as well as motivate her partner's team.
Good.
Now, she actually did this on national TV.
Really?
Yes. What? She, during an interview on TV channel Univision, she added, maybe I would do it with Johnny so that women would be able to enjoy him and men would be able to enjoy me.
Did it go like all the way? She went all the way?
Well, not yet, because
they haven't got there
They've
yet.
only just... This is the motivational side
I
of
think
things.
this is the future of coaching. I think for motivational stuff for men, each team should employ a supermodel.
You've seen Major League, haven't you? The baseball film.
Yeah.
Where the owner comes in and...
Wild thing, you know?
Yeah, that's the one.
So
they get the kind of life-size model with all the stickers on and the stickers represented the number of wins they needed to get through, so they peeled a sticker off.
Yes, of course.
So it's been going on for years!
Yeah, simple pleasures in life.
Indeed,
we're simple gender, aren't we, really? Simple, you know. Yeah.
Yes, well, talking of simple genders, this week also saw the Adelaide 36ers. They are set to bin their cheerleaders.
Bin them?
Bin them.
They've had enough. Are they unhappy with their performance, or they just feel like...
No.
Is it a very shallow aesthetic thing? Is this International Women's Day going downhill at a rate of knots?
I think so.
Okay.
The term the owner of the club has used is they're not family friendly.
Oh, well, that's controversial.
So the Adelaide 36ers.
So they're saying they're, a bit slutty. Is that what they're saying?
Well, I was thinking we go back to film references quite regularly. Do you remember the film The Replacements? Keanu Reeves.
Yes, I've seen bits and pieces of it. It wasn't worth sitting through in one sitting. I didn't think.
What? Rhys Ifans, the kicker, the leg.
Yeah,
he's wiry.
Yeah, that's right. He was wiry. I remember that one.
So the club owner is a woman, by the way, Carmel Margaritis. She said, people perceive the girls as not being family friendly and not being good role models. And I think the women are intimidated by them as well. But when you look at the overall picture, they are a good role model to young girls. The amount of young girls who love them and look up to them are endless. They are committed to a sport, committed to a job, they train hard and look after their bodies, and they mingle with the fans. They are about entertaining, an integral part of the game, and bigger than the club realises.
So have they gotten rid of them or not?
Well, the season's only just finished. They just had the grand final.
This is to talk about for next season.
Yeah, so obviously the club haven't got any money and they can't pay the cheerleaders. So they have to make excuses. She's covering all bases there.
Like she hasn't really said anything definitively one side or the other. She's been very encouraging, but has sort of said maybe it's not right.
But making up excuses to get rid of them.
Is it just the outfits or something? I mean, can they just put them in a nice frock? Sort of Mary Poppins style something arrangement and do maybe some sort of burlesque influence kind of ballet or something?
I think what we've got to realise is we're talking about Adelaide.
Okay, and that's relevant how?
Well, to find 10 attractive girls in Adelaide is probably a struggle.
Well, that's sports news for this week.
That is, and it's a great segue because we just talked about basketball, and our special guest today is a big basketball man.
Who have we got, Beefy?
We've got Francis Harrison from the Resignators, one of Melbourne's hardest working ska bands.
Francis, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm only very big because I eat too much.
Yes.
Hey, that's really interesting about Adelaide too, because obviously Joey Wright, their coach, has departed. And when you brought that up, I instantly thought that they were going to get rid of Joey Wright.
Yeah.
And he could be mistaken for a cheerleader. I mean, you've seen him on the sidelines throwing his arms about and yelling at the referees and such and getting upset.
Perhaps they've been relieved of his coaching duty.
Well, I believe he has been.
And now he's just going to head up the cheerleading.
It's a possibility. Maybe he went out in support of the cheerleaders.
Oh, there you go.
No cheerleaders, no Joey.
Yeah, he's a feminist. See, he's standing up for International Women's Day. He's not like that horrible tyrant executive who was trying to... What was her name again?
Carmel Margaritis.
Carmel, yeah. So he's looking towards the future, I think.
How did... I don't follow the NBL too much. How did Adelaide do this year?
They came third. They were beaten in 3 games by Illawarra in the finals, which was a bit of an upset because Adelaide finished on top. To be quite honest, once Perth were in the grand final, they were pretty much always going to win that series.
Yeah.
And did so 3 games in a 5-game series.
Yeah, indeed. Now, for people who don't know, Francis is a top-level basketball referee.
Top level's a bit... Well, state level.
State level, that's top-ish. It's better than what
high.
I've played. And coaches in a Victorian junior program.
Yep, and then VJBL, which is a state league program.
There you go. So
sounds to me like you're not very busy. You know,
not really. And I wanted to explore the motivation because tomorrow night I've got a big game for my team to qualify in a higher division.
Okay.
And I need some motivation. And that Paraguayan model could be...
What sort of age of...
They're under 14. They're just beginning to understand.
They'll really respond to that.
I think they would.
When I was 13 years old, it didn't take much, and you're up and away.
I need them to put the ball on the hoop. There is no doubt about it.
What Francis hasn't told you is he's lost half his team, though. They're all going to Justin Bieber tomorrow night.
I think that's just the mothers.
It's just the mothers.
It's just the mothers.
It's like a reverse psychology thing going to Bieber? That's the opposite of what we just talked about.
Totally.
Yeah. If you lose, I'm going to take you all to a Justin Bieber concert.
This is like a punishment.
I like it. Yeah. I got a call from one of the mothers and they said, look, I can't score this week. Obviously, we have the parents come and do the scoring. And I said, is everything okay? And they said, no, I'm going to Justin Bieber. Silence.
Yeah.
You've got to be careful what you say, particularly in my team, as 2 of the parents are part of the constabulary and, don't want to get on the wrong side of them.
Talking about getting on the wrong side of things. Rob, what's it time for?
It's just a piece of art, really.
It is art.
It is. I mean, I don't know how I just come up with these things, you know.
It's the favourite section of the show. I've heard already.
Greatest sporting benders. People love hearing about people misbehaving. Like, I mean, it's always swept under the mat these days. We need to hear these things. We need to have a laugh at people doing stupid things. The right thing is to make fun of people doing stupid things.
And obviously, foreign substances included.
All variety.
It's
not be afraid of these things.
No.
Everyone knows they exist.
Yeah, they do.
It's just everyone's thinking about the kids too much.
It's pretty hard to have a bender without them, really.
That's very true.
It's impossible, I suggest, unless you're like, I don't know,
like High on Life,
a Christian band or something like that. Christian,
I hadn't thought of that. Ned Flanders metal band or something.
Although that's a bender I definitely won't be a part of in a hurry.
So who's going first? Who's got a?
You all prepped? You ready to go? You're on a roll.
I've got one. Mm-hmm. Actually, I've got a club.
A club?
A full club that have been renowned for great sporting benders. And it is Arsenal Football Club from the 90s. Mm-hmm. Ray Parlour blew the lid on what they called the Tuesday Club.
Oh, Ray. Think about the boys. What are you doing?
So what Ray said, Ray played for England, by the way, and Ray, I'm going to tell you a story. It's not even on my research. I know this story. Ray was playing for England when Glenn Hoddle was boss, and they had a kind of a motivational session, not the ones we're talking about, although it could be considered that. Now, Glenn Hoddle was very spiritual. Mm-hmm. And he brought in a kind of a faith healer that he knew to bring him in. And what the faith healer did, she got everyone to sit in a chair and she put her hands on their head and, got them to expel their demons and all this. And as Ray Parlour sat down and she went to put her hands on his head, he went, short back and sides, please. Oh. Now, that didn't go down too well with Glenn Hoddle and his faith healer, and he hardly ever played for England again. But that's another story. So Ray Parlour... So from his book, he comes in, he goes, the thing that really surprised me when I came into the Arsenal team was the drinking culture. The Tuesday Club, as it was known, was in full flow, and I was soon welcomed into the fold. It came about because in those days, we used to train at Highbury on a Tuesday. If there was no midweek game, we would be put through our paces and then have Wednesday off. Everybody always used to dress up to go in on a Tuesday. George Graham would say, what's going on here? It was obvious we were all going out after because our clobber would give the game away. Usually we'd be in our tracksuits Monday, Thursday and Friday, but on Tuesday we had all our gear on as if we were going for a night out. The drinking was relentless. Saturday night after a game, then Sunday afternoon was the best drink of the week, usually in a pub down our way. Monday we'd have a couple after training, then came Tuesday Club. We were probably drinking too much, but the enjoyment of it and just being around Tony Adams at that time was far too much fun to turn down. If Tony said, I'm going out, I was like a little puppy jumping along after him. I remember going out on Christmas Eve once, and not unusually for us, doing something foolish. It was my first full season, and neither Tony nor myself was in the squad for Boxing Day, so we headed out after training. We settled down for a drink in the Palms Hotel, which is near us in Romford, and I said, Tony, whatever we do, I have to get my mum a present for Christmas. We stayed in there all afternoon, forgot all about it. Suddenly the thought popped back into my head, Tony, the present! What are we going to do now? He looked at me. I don't know. We were standing next to a plant pot and he said, what about this? We weren't really thinking about what we were doing, so we picked up the plant pot and put it in the boot of my car. The manager of the hotel saw us walk out with it, not that we noticed, and we went back in and had a few more drinks. When we left the Palms, the police were waiting by my car and they asked me to open up the boot. I tried to wriggle out of it, but the policeman said, no, the manager of the hotel saw you and Tony walk out of the hotel with his plant pot and put it in the back of your car. I took the plant pot back to the hotel and helped them lift it into its rightful place. Tony and I had to go to the police station the following Tuesday. Believe it or not, as we walked in, the policeman tooted, here comes Bill and Penn, the flower pot men.
So basically they stole a flower pot.
They stole a flower
and
pot.
They put it back.
This is the interesting one as well.
That's not very wild and out there. I'm not sure if that's good enough for greatest sporting benders. We're going to need some more in here.
But here's the one. Ray Parlour has revealed he and his Arsenal teammates once drunk 35 pints in an afternoon before going on to win the Premier League and FA Cup double.
Okay, now we're talking.
I'll always remember the first pre-season tour with Arsene Wenger. New French lads are coming to the team like Patrick Vieira, Emmanuel Petit and Gilles Grimondi. You know what we were like. We went straight down the pub and the French lads went to the coffee shop. I'll always remember the moment Steve Bold went up to the bar and ordered 35 pints for 5 of us. After we left the bar, we spotted all the French lads in the coffee shop smoking. And I thought, how are we going to win the league this year? We're all drunk and they're all smoking. And we ended up winning the double.
Well, that's a real achievement, I think.
Yes.
So basically just heavy boozing. It's a bit of a quantity type thing, not unlike Andre the Giant last week.
Not unlike Andre the Giant. This Tuesday Club, though, they had it every Tuesday because they had a small window to get as many pints.
And again, I assume they can't get away with this nowadays.
So that's Arsenal. If you look into
Arsenal,
Arsenal...
how does the Referees Association basketball work out in that sort of arrangement?
Oh, look, we have our moments.
Yeah.
The players think that, we're these goody two-shoes, kind of nerdy kind of guys, but it's far from the truth. There is a story about a famous NBL referee from years gone by who was reffing at a tournament in Warrnambool. All the NBL teams would play their pre-season over the Australia Day long weekend. He'd checked into his motel, he'd reffed his games, he'd gone back, had a pint or three. The hotel were like, no, we're not letting you in. You're not in the condition to be in our hotel. And he wasn't real happy with this. And so he found a way somehow of getting away to a hardware store and got a couple of bags of concrete and filled the swimming pool with bags of concrete.
That's great.
That's actually a true story, and other referees are going to know who I'm talking about, but I'm not bringing it up.
This is a referee.
This is a referee. This is a referee who refereed NBL basketball. He's a Melbourne
are supposed
guy.
to be great mediators. They're not one to come in and just go Keith Moon on stuff.
He mediated. He felt that he was aggrieved, and he issued the appropriate penalty.
I guess the only thing he could have done better was drive a car in and then.
Yeah.
concrete
Oh, wow.
it.
Real stuff.
real
I'm
combo,
sure he wished he had done that, but
there's still time, and
I'm not sure there's still time for him.
Well,
he's not refereeing anymore.
If he'd have put enough concrete
surely
mix...
the refereeing's not relevant to the effort.
No, that's true. But then he'd have to travel down to Warrnambool to do it.
He could just play in like a really bad indoor cricket team or something, and could still qualify for sporting vendors.
100%.
Well, what he could have done, though, if he'd have put enough concrete mix into the swimming pool, he could have parked the car on top of the pool, because it would have been solidified. Now, that would have been good.
It could have been sort of creating space and
built them a new
you could have charged them for it.
Exactly.
And put a boom gate up. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Oh, that's not what I would have thought of any sort of referee.
No, it's a good one, though.
Well, of course, you're a former referee yourself.
I am,
too. Yeah, of course. Well, I've sort of cheated a bit this week on Greatest Sporting Benders, and I've strayed away from sports slightly.
Okay. Slightly.
It came from a reality show called Celebrity Fit Club.
Oh.
So there was exercise taking place.
Fair enough.
And it involves a particular man, a kind of famous actor by the name of Daniel Baldwin. Now, of course, he is, I think, the oldest of the Baldwin brothers.
The Baldwin dynasty.
Alec Baldwin's very famous. Billy he peaked it probably when he was on Sliver with Sharon Stone and faded away into the late 90s.
Yep.
And then there's Stephen Baldwin, who's also been a bit of a blowout and been on lots of reality shows and stuff like that. Daniel Baldwin, however, was seen by the others as the most talented of the actors, and the guy that was really had the potential to go to the Oscar level. Ooh. But he's had a tremendous failings in his life with drugs. Now, the first story that I heard about this guy I thought was fantastic. So he was on Celebrity Fit Club, as I said.
Yep.
He was the captain of the team. He would turn up and he wouldn't partake in any of the exercises and stuff. And he was always just sort of vanishing up to his room all the time, and as captain of the team, he wasn't a very prominent force and things. They do the weigh-in, and he just kept losing all this weight all the time. And everyone's trying to work out what the hell is going on here. And then it all built up and got to the final, and the final show is going to be the big final weigh-in, and Daniel Baldwin just went AWOL. No, he went missing and vanished from the entire show, and no one knew where he was. And it turned out the whole time he was losing this weight because he's been on a massive coke bender, and he just lost all this weight from not eating, and he admitted himself to rehab.
Just a day out with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's done all sorts. This is his addiction and arrest. In 1998, Baldwin was found running naked through the halls of New York's Plaza Hotel, shouting, "Baldwin!"
He's got a future career in rugby league.
He was arrested in possession of cocaine. He pleaded guilty disorderly conduct and was sentenced to 3 months in drug rehab. He later told People magazine that he'd been battling a cocaine addiction since 1989.
Well, that's quite a long time.
That's a 9-year stint.
Obviously, that rehab, that time in rehab did him a lot of good.
I've got one more here. He was arrested on July 19, 2006. According to the police, Baldwin ran a red light after weaving through traffic just before 1 p.m. Then crashed his rented Ford Thunderbird into 2 parked cars while going 80 mile an hour in a 35 mile an hour zone. Jason Lee, a spokesman for the Los Angeles police, said, "The Thunderbird pushed one of the vehicles about 20 feet, and that was a Hummer." Police say Baldwin was driving with a suspended license at the time of the crash. After that, he was, funnily enough, after he was on Celebrity Fit Club, and then he went to rehab, then the next show is on Celebrity Rehab.
Oh. So you make your own luck, don't you?
It's fantastic. So yeah, here's Daniel Baldwin.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Baldwin!
That's an effort.
Baldwin!
It's an effort.
So, Francis, what have you got? I worded you up on this.
You did a little bit, and it's one of my favourite stories. It's an AFL story. Robert Gronwell-Regan from the Footscray Football Club.
Oh.
He was an average sort of 6'4" player, but he did some strange things. He's forever famous for dropping his schlong out in the team picture.
Oh, yeah.
And it was missed by the editor, so it ended up in the newspaper.
And no doubt ended up on a lot of people's walls.
It did, but there's more famous. And he's probably lucky that in 1985 he did that, because if he did it today, he'd still be in jail. Mm-hmm. On an infamous flight to Hawaii in 1985, Gronna got hold of the hostess's PA system. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Gronwell-Regan speaking. We're currently cruising at 10,000 metres. Hope you're enjoying the flight, because it will be your last. We're going down.
Nice.
No. Dear, oh dear.
And I'm sure he'd had 1 or 3 ales.
Yeah.
That would be a whopping fine,
that.
surely.
Yeah.
A huge
Oh,
fine.
nowadays.
No, not back then. 1985. Football trips.
It was fun back then.
Who here has actually been on a football trip? Beefy, I'm looking your way. I'm sure you've seen one, maybe. Cricket trip?
Yeah, loads of them.
Oh, okay.
Cricket tour is what we used to call it, yes.
Well, it's the same with the Australian rules football.
Yeah.
Weekend away, and I played enough football in my younger years to go on 1 or 3 trips. And I played at a football club not far from here, down in Glen Iris. And we used to go to a little place in South Australia called Narracourt. Now, we'd get off the bus, so that's a solid 6 or 7 hours drinking. Yeah. We'd go to the golf course and obviously then get thrown off after a couple of holes, as you do. And we've got a guy at the local footy club, Little Harrow was his name, and I'm sure he's listening because everyone listens to 365 Days of Sport.
Of course.
He's infamous. His wife tucked him off and said, you have a good trip away. He got his leave pass and he's got away. Didn't stop drinking, didn't sleep for the whole time at Narracourt, at this hotel that was put up for us, and came home with no shoes. Half of his jeans were cut off, and his shirt was ripped across his chest, but he still managed to have it on. Okay. And we got him home, and we've dropped it, and his wife's just looked at us and gone, "Oh my God."
I like that when the shredded shirt remains.
Oh, it remains.
Rather than get rid of it.
He's not taking it off.
It really is. It's more evidence, and I think it enhances the dirtbagness of it. All right, very good. Well, it's a greatest sporting benders for
another week's worth of great
today,
sporting
the 9th
benders.
of the 3rd, 2017. Thank you very much.
Now, we talked about footy clubs. Did they have a team song?
When the Saints. Nice and easy.
Oh, when the Saints.
I know. I did play with some footy clubs that had some different football anthems across the years, different to the AFL.
Any really, really bad ones?
Oh, look, they're all bad. They're all bad when they're sung by 18 blokes who can't sing.
Are you saying it's time for worst song in the world, Beefy?
I think it's time for worst song in the world.
So he played the first song that came to his head. It just so happened to be, it was the worst song in the world. It was the worst song in the world. Listen to the song and it's clear you're a monk, because the words don't fit and the song is shit. You're a talentless tit. You suck!
Worst song in the world? Don't we love it? It's just marvellous, isn't it?
It's more art. It's living art.
So it was mentioned last week we had the Everton Football Club.
Yeah, this came about...
We rubbished, Francis, we rubbished the hell out of Reading Football Club last week with this horrific song.
And this came about from Reading, didn't it?
Yeah,
it was mentioned...
one of the fans critiqued it and said, this is worse than Here We Go by Everton. So we had to go and find this Everton
So we went and found
song.
Here We Go by Everton.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Everton is the best we all know. We're the team with supreme #1. And we love you.
It's very AFL-ish.
It's just rubbish.
Well, incidentally, this is Adelaide Football Club's first theme song.
The same melody, is it?
Yeah. Here we go, Camry Crows, here we go.
Oh, Camry Crows. They even got the sponsors into the team name, into the song, sorry.
If you go on YouTube, you'll see it.
But
horrific.
Listen, Everton, they change it up a little bit.
Oh.
Bit of bad manners segue.
And that's it.
What they've done is they have kind of cobbled together like 10 dodgy football chants into this song.
Yeah.
Just to make it into it. Now, it was tradition from about the mid-70s onwards. If you made the FA Cup final, you did a song, which generally got in the charts, right?
Okay.
This song we've just heard got to number 16 in the British charts.
16.
Number 16 in the charts.
That's a lot of records sold.
Exactly, that's the thing. And don't forget, in the English charts, when sales were king, not downloads or plays on radio or anything, if you sold a large number of copies in a short time, you got in the charts. So, obviously, these songs got released just before the FA Cup final, so all the fans went out and bought them, and bang, you're in the charts. You may not have lasted too long in the charts.
But that was really bad. Like, so
That
for example,
was
like,
really bad.
what it reminds me of, because you get the old AFL songs and it's the bandstand arm swinging, boom, boom, boom. But it's recorded probably in the 1930s or something. So it had like a crappy old recording. It had the authentic sounding bass, the grand choir sort of voice.
I think you'll
and
find...
it sort of works like that, but they try to do a modern version of it.
Yeah.
And they put some drums in and stuff, and it's just, it's, what are you thinking? It's just like...
I think you'll find the AFL ones were all done in the 70s by a group called the One Man Band. And what they did, they took all the tunes, because a lot of the tunes aren't what they were.
Yeah.
A lot of teams have tunes that they may not have even chosen.
Right.
But this one-man band who did all the flip sides to the Up There Kazali stuff and all that, they did all the AFL songs, and all those songs have stuck. I mean, the St Kilda, the original song's not Oh When the Saints.
Right.
It's I Do Love to Live Beside the Seaside. That's their original song. I tell no lies. It's true, and a lot of the teams have that. The Footscray theme song's originally the Hawthorn theme song.
Oh,
it changed.
Wow, really?
The lyrics were slightly different. It was all about bobbing up and down and all this kind of stuff.
Strange thing about the Everton song is that is the actual players singing.
Oh, well, they did a pretty good job then.
I think along the lines as we go through this segment, as we go further, I'm sure there'll be more football songs, FA Cup songs crop up.
No
Well,
doubt.
I must put my hand up. Being a West Ham fan,
Yep.
our song's pretty awful.
Yeah, it is, but...
I mean, I know it's got history behind it,
Yeah.
and I know the whole crowd get behind it, but it sounds like, Michael Jackson giving head to his monkey. It's, it's pretty terrible.
You know the story about when he actually went to see Fulham versus West Ham?
I don't know the story.
Oh, okay. Michael Jackson was a good friend of, what's he called? Dodi Mohammed, or the guy owns Harrods, who also owns Fulham.
Fulham.
He used to own Fulham. He sold it to...
His son was married to the...
Princess Di.
Crown Princess, yeah.
Anyway, not married. There was dating when she died.
Okay.
Anyway, or when she got murdered, if you're a conspiracy theorist. So, Michael Jackson was a guest of Dodi Fayed at a Fulham game. They happened to be playing...
Yeah, I do recall something.
They
like
happened to
this.
be playing West Ham. Halfway through the second half, Michael Jackson got up and left, and nobody could find out why. He was crying. He was storming out. And so they couldn't work out why until somebody realised the West Ham theme tune is I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles.
Oh, right, and he took it all...
He took it as
all
though they were
wrong.
singing rude songs
dear,
at
oh
me,
dear.
so he couldn't take any more.
What are
and-
the chances of that?
I know, unbelievable, isn't it? I'm
yeah.
forever blowing bubbles,
Yeah.
pretty, bubbles in the air.
They fly so high.
They now fire bubbles out of bubble makers from the side of the pitch, and
They've got a character named Bubbles who goes on.
Well,
They've
not
got
only that,
Hammerhead and Bubbles.
they,
go on the
they
cover.
signed a player. He has a pathological, a phobia about bubbles as well.
Globophobia.
Yeah, there you go, globophobia.
Oh,
So
I
he
can
run-
tell you a story about globophobia.
Tell us, we're here to listen and educate.
And nothing to do with sport, but the original trumpet...
Globophobia.
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
official... The original trumpet player from the Resignators, Dittman, is globophobic. And so we had a big dinner dance, and, when you have a big dinner dance, you put up some balloons and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Well, it's the same phobia. He's scared of balloons.
So, but just round things in general.
Yeah,
Balls?
yeah. Well, not balls so much, but bubbles definitely.
They're pretty globular.
Yeah, no. He was
He could be scared of the whole world.
He was
Globulars, one big globe.
He was okay with balls, but no good with
But just
bubbles.
bubbles and
no
balloons.
good with balloons.
Wow.
And like a serious phobia. He couldn't be in the same room.
Yep.
That's completely mental.
Yeah. So West Ham signed a guy that is scared of bubbles, and when you run out for the second half, they've got 10 million bubbles, and he's shitting himself.
And people singing about bubbles.
I'm ready for the final, but I can't take those bubbles.
I bet you he's glad they moved to the Olympic Stadium, because Upton Park would have been a nightmare
pretty
for
close.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
There you go. So Rob, what have you got? What have you
Worst
found?
song? Well, I've got it a bit cheeky here. This is not really a song that's famous in the sports world, apart from the fact that it's appeared a lot on the end of our shows.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it's a song that I'm really not a fan of. It's by a Christian rock band called Beaten Path.
They're brilliant.
And Beefy here despite my frequent expression of disgust, continues to put it on the end of our shows because it's got the words 365 days in it.
Yep.
And it's just not. Just listen. This is atrocious. This drives me nuts. This makes me very angry every time, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to our podcast from last week.
Do you? Yeah.
And then they just left a sour taste right at the end. Just from the 365 days. The guys, they're originally from New Orleans.
Oh, are they?
And then they moved to Nashville after Hurricane Katrina. This sounds like David Brent doing Free Love on the Free Love Freeway.
I like that analogy. Beautiful. Scott Stapp.
It's getting ready to rock.
Scott Stapp has covered this. It's been 365 days.
He's even taking the piss out of himself right now.
Listen to that. Oh yeah. You can hear that New Orleans.
You know what that sounds like? That's the bit.
I'm just surprised they weren't asked to play Donald Trump's inauguration.
Yeah, they could have been.
Oh my word! That sounds like a Channel 31 government-funded piece of crap Sunday afternoon travel show.
Easy. Channel 31's been taken off the air.
Yeah, well, I'm taking them down. I'm kicking them all down.
I can't believe you can't like that.
I'm just saying right now, as managing director, major shareholder of 365 Days of Sport, that is officially now banned.
You can't ban it.
Any
it's
further
great.
broadcast. I just have. It's over.
Beaten Path. This is their one glimmer of hope to finally make it.
They went off the path and they should have beaten them while they were off.
Well,
I can't have a Christian rock band on the show.
Man, they're the biggest earners in world music, unfortunately. Like what they call Jars of Clay and all those, the Newsboys. They make more money than Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood combined.
Striper, there you go.
Wow, worst song in the world. I think it's well covered again.
Yep. Yeah. It's a good segment, apart from you brought it down now. You brought the standards so far down, it's not funny.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take it all, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. There's a time you gotta go and show you grow, and now you know about the facts of life. The facts of life. When the world never seems to be living up to your dreams.
Remember the show, Francis?
Unfortunately, I wouldn't say fan, but I remember it. I have sisters.
It was girls learning about their way, finding their way through life. Basically, Beefy's the sportsman, strange, odd, different sports around the world, and he's going to tell us something.
What's the date today?
He's going to teach us something new about life.
What is the date? I know
the date today is the 9th of March, 2017.
What were we doing last year, Rob, on the 9th,
the 9th
of
March? Oh, God. Let's see. Well, it's after Greenland. It'll be...
No. We were in Greenland.
Really?
Yeah.
On the 9th of March?
Yeah, we were. 9th of March. We were in Greenland.
Oh, was it during the blizzard or was it... Greenland wasn't a good time for Roberto. he struggled. There was a blizzard and I was stuck inside... We were stuck inside the apartment for 4 days.
Yeah. Couldn't quite get out.
I couldn't have a glass of wine. We were eating spaghetti bolognese every day. You'd think you'd be excited about going to Greenland, but it's just kind of ice.
I've never heard anyone say they'd be excited about going to Greenland, and that's just honest truth.
Just for the intrepid side of it, you know. If we went out and saw some whales or something, I enjoyed that dinner they put on for the media people.
that was the kind of the highlight.
Okay.
What's the capital city of Greenland?
Nuuk.
And is there any other city in Greenland?
Yeah, there's a couple others. There's 50,000 people live on Greenland.
I was going to say, it's a small population.
20,000 of which live in Nuuk.
Okay.
On an island the size of Australia. There's a few reindeers, or deers, or elks, or something.
It's melting away, though, now with this climate change. You know that?
It's smaller than Australia. There you go.
We're aware of the issues on
the something new, borrow blue, askew, all that stuff. I'm actually going to bring up the sport we didn't see.
Okay.
Because we didn't get told it was on. Or remember they changed it? It's a sport called snow snake. Now, it's not what you think.
Oh, I do remember the description, though.
Yes.
So, you going to do it? Shall I muck it up?
Well, I'll tell you what. You go first.
I reckon that this is when they get like a small javelin.
Spear.
And something pops up out of the ice. And they got to hurl it along the ice and stab like a fish or something.
Close. Not bad, Rob.
Yeah.
Not bad considering we didn't see it.
Yeah.
So you're right, they got a spear. What they do, they cut holes in the ice so that the seals...
Oh, seals, not fish.
...can come up. So
I haven't seen too many jumping fish in my time.
You haven't been to Jamaica.
No.
Flying fish. So the seals obviously have to breathe, so their heads come up out of these holes.
And
so the Eskimos, they launch their javelins along the ice to spear them in the head. So that's how they hunt seals, and obviously the noise, they tap the ice a bit like that, and the seals come up to work
See,
out
the
what's
first
happening.
thing I think about that is that immediately the Melbourne, northern, suburban, vegetarian, vegan types would be appalled at hearing that people are hunting seals and think this is disgraceful.
Yeah.
But this is, they actually
their way of life.
they don't have resources to really do a whole lot more.
No.
It's like that young girl, what was her name? And
I
she
was
had
just about
she had
the
that-
wrestler.
She goes, oh, what's that nice fur thing? She says, oh, that's from the seal
That's
I climbed.
seal, yeah, that's right. And but yeah, she wore all her clothes. She was a fashion designer, wasn't she? And all her clothes she wore were seal fur.
Yeah. It was a family business.
Yeah. Making clothes. It's it
Different way of life.
Really?
Yeah, it certainly is.
When you're Inuit.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's your experience with the Inuits?
I haven't got that far north. The closest I've got's a place in Canada, in Quebec, called Chicoutimi.
Right.
It's minus 35. It's on the Saguenay River. The Saguenay River is a proper river, not like the Yarra, which is a creek. And people were fishing on it. And
We probably had some of them at our event because it was
Fair chance.
we went to the Eskimo Olympics essentially.
Oh, okay.
And they had Canadians there, and they had people from
They would have
Alaska.
been
Northern Alberta.
Okay.
And Alaska, obviously not in Canada. What other regions?
Well, Russia.
Yeah, Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was,
the Samis from Finland.
Yeah.
There were more Canadians then.
There's an Inuit
hard for me to-
province above Quebec. I can't for the life of me think of what the name of the province is.
The Yukon.
No, Yukon's
sorry.
British Columbia, above British Columbia.
So above Saskatchewan.
No, Saskatchewan's in the middle, and
Very
that's just
knowledgeable,
prairie
this.
land.
He does. He
Yeah,
knows
it's
more.
good,
We're just
isn't it?
throwing them out there. He's got an answer.
That's just prairie land. I have been to northern Alberta,
Yeah.
but I don't recall any Eskimo type people.
Right. So where were we at with the snow snake?
Yeah, so snow snake.
Yeah.
It is a genuine sport where you basically throw a javelin along the ice.
Yeah.
As far as
And
you
so
can.
now, how do they judge it? Because they can't just sort of casually knock off seals during the competition. I can't imagine.
Do they have a phone poll and see how many greenies they've upset?
Yeah, they do.
And that's how you win.
Well, no, it's like a kind of shish kebab. If you
Yeah.
get all the seals in a row, and you can see how far the javelin will go through the seal, how many seals you can knock off in a row.
The ultimate Greenland kebab.
I love it.
It's a distance thing, Rob. I think it's how far you can chuck your javelin.
Just pure
basically.
distance. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so this Eskimo Olympics, all these things are based on like old school Inuit hunting techniques
Yes.
and ideas of how
Yeah.
they could get stronger, so they could hunt after these various, I don't know, wolf seals and what else? What's on land
Fish.
there? Polar bears. Who
Yep.
knows?
Yeah, polar bears.
I remember asking just sort of casually, "Oh, do they have many polar bears here?" And she said, "Oh, there hasn't been one in town for about 3 months."
Yeah, that's
3 months?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Yeah.
I was not expecting that as a serious
Just out of
answer.
that, do they have the funny locks on the bins? Like the rubbish bins there? I noticed in northern Canada, they've got, to stop the bears from
Bears
getting into the
opening up.
rubbish bins, they've got
Yeah.
these funny... And it took our then trumpet player, Dittman, about an hour to put his rubbish in the rubbish bin because he
Right.
couldn't open it.
Was he nicknamed the Bear from then on?
Should have been.
Yes.
Okay, right.
So yeah.
There's ones like they had the knee jump and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
knee
there was-
jump and the high kick and all
Yeah,
that.
and we should just mention
The
airplane.
greatest sport. This is another pub. If airplane was a pub sport in Australia, it would be the greatest thing of all time. I'll tell you now.
You've got to explain it.
Airplane. You basically lie on the floor like a cross, and you keep your body as tight as possible.
Jesus Christ pose.
Jesus Christ pose, crucifix. 4 big Eskimos. Doesn't have to be Eskimos in Australia. Could be just 4 big blokes. They come out. They pick you up by the wrists and the ankles. You got to keep your body as taut as possible, as firm as possible, and then you get walked as far as you can. And the idea is to go the furthest without your body going floppy.
It's already a game in Australia.
Airplane.
It's already
What?
a game. Oh, look, I've worked as security. I've had to do this, whether it's officially or unofficially, but I've definitely done
You've
it.
had to march.
I've had to march people out, and they taut their
I
body,
see. Right,
and I've
right.
got them by the wrist, and the other guys go, and that I get it.
So in this version of the end of it, you punch the person. Is that how it works?
Oh, no, you
sort
take
of
them
thing?
around the corner and punch the person
punch them,
away from the
sit on
cameras.
them, yeah, so that they don't really get any applause.
No,
as such.
well, no, we've had applause a couple of times.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
people
yeah,
that dropped
yeah,
them and
yeah.
belted them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think it's the opposite idea. There was when they actually applaud the person who's being carried.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
okay, I
No,
got
no.
you. I thought
Yeah,
it was all about the
back to
bouncers.
front.
Yeah, well,
oh,
there you
that's,
go.
we're in Southern Hemisphere. Everything's opposite way around.
Gotcha.
When we
Yeah.
went to see Airplane, this is the blue ribbon event of the Arctic Winter Games. they actually couldn't. They didn't let any more people. They had to close the doors. There were so many people trying to get into this gymnasium to watch. They closed the doors. They had to send people away in the blizzard.
It was I mean, I was sitting there somewhat. I was going mental because I just really wanted a glass of wine. But I just always look at stuff like that and just go, why are you doing that? I understand where it came from. I understand what they're doing. But it's just, you have to train for that.
There's an answer.
They did.
Yeah.
They did have to train for that.
There's an answer. Why not?
I can think of a few reasons.
We're gonna go back. Well, I think we're going to revisit the Arctic Winter Games on a number of occasions. So we'll keep a
But
few of
this
those
time,
sports back.
I am going to we have to have money to go to bars in the evening.
In Greenland.
I can't just sit with you in the apartment for 4 days like last time.
For 10 days. The blizzard didn't help, put it that way.
Oh,
now,
brilliant.
while we got Francis here, Francis, how'd you go about balancing kind of the sport and the music career?
No idea.
Oh, okay.
It kind of just happens around me. I'm, as many people will attest, I'm from basketball to band practice or gig, back to basketball, refereeing. Obviously, you've got to do a certain amount of championships. There's study involved. You've got to pass exams. Fitness test. Passed my fitness test. I know a lot of people.
What's
they look at me.
What's
They look at me and they go, "There is no way." Look, I will tell. This is the truth. I went in. I work with my parents in Colac, and I walked in. I saw my dad there, and he's just had a heart attack. But I just walked in. I said, "Dad, I passed my fitness test," and he went, "How's a fat f*** like you pass your fitness test?" Straight up.
How would what is the fitness test?
Okay, it's a shuttle run.
Yep.
It's called a yo-yo test. We used to do a beep test. You've probably heard the AFL players do it. The yo-yo test is a version of that. So it's a 20-metre shuttle run. You run 20 metres up, 20 metres back to a beep. So you've got to do it in a certain amount of time. Then you get a 10-second break, and then you do it again, and you've got to do it X amount of times.
Until you get to a certain level.
Yeah, to a certain level.
What's the level?
I got to 14.5.
14. That's pretty respectful.
And this is why I'm amazed as much as my father.
It's just mental power.
Must
just
have been.
Through.
Do you know what? I actually got through, and I wasn't puffing. I was like, this isn't right.
Oh, come on. You
God's
sure
honour.
it wasn't like some lazy pricks level or something?
It's done by Basketball Victoria. I mean, it's run by the people, and they're not slack on it. And I was okay. And then there was a 22-year-old kid who just did it, came back in the restroom after, and he's red and his sweat going everywhere and he's panting. I'm like, mate, did you pass? And he's going, oh, just. I'm like, serious? I just walked my way through this, you know?
There you go. He's got long legs, Francis. Yeah, you haven't seen his legs.
Yeah, he looked quite tall on the fence. Right?
Yeah, don't know how I passed it, but I passed it. So there's a lot involved in that side of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of travel involved when you're refereeing. I can referee anywhere from Mount Gambier in the east, essentially Victoria, even though it's in South Australia.
Yeah.
From the west to Bairnsdale in the east. And from Southern Peninsula in Rosebud all the way up to Echuca and Mildura. And it's just random. You get your appointment on the Tuesday and off you go.
Have you ever had to manhandle an unruly competitor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, I did a game last weekend. It was a practice match between the Geelong Supercats and the Hawthorn Magic. And it was a practice match, so I wasn't thinking it was going to get out of control. Yeah. These two teams are just going through the strides, learning new plays whatsoever. And two players came together, and they wanted to go at it.
Yeah.
So I had to get between. I was with a young female referee, a very good one, Shannon, and she got in between and pushed the big bloke out of the way, and we continued on.
So, you didn't have to come to blows or anything?
In basketball, it's probably not the best thing for the referee to be throwing punches.
No one's been so appalled by a decision you've made, they've come at you?
No, they have. I think it was last season or season before, State League game. A lovely gentleman.
Did they get there and realise you're quite large? I guess basketball players are quite large too, aren't they?
He wasn't. He was in the crowd. And he cornered me after the game. And obviously his son was playing from the lovely Altona Gators basketball club. And he said, "You're a cheat." I said, "Mate, just walk away. Just walk away. I'm walking away." Followed me. I've gone in the ref's room. He's waited. Still there. I said, "Listen, mate, there's two ways this ends. We walk away and we let it go and we can tell the story, however, or we go out in the car park now and I may never ref another game, but I'm going to hurt you."
Yeah. Well dealt with. I think.
you
I just don't get it. And his team won. Like, it wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
He was on a
actually-
mission
yeah.
to go after me, and I really tried to avoid him. I walked away. I got in the refs room. He waited. He just wanted to have his say. I let him have his say.
Yeah.
And I said, "That's it, mate. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm leaving."
Yeah.
And he wanted to keep going.
Because the parents in those under-8 leagues, they're scary, man.
No, you may laugh.
I know.
Oh,
Maybe he just come up with
that was a senior game. I'd rather
Yeah.
that than
the parents.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! And try coaching was like, I've coached for a few years at under 14 level, and I've had some interesting discussions with parents. Not this year. I've got a really great group of parents this year, but in previous years, I've had some strange happenings with parents. And their expectations on their children, and trying to live their basketball career through their 13-year-old son.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They sound like great people who are going to make great kids, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Their future's looking
that was Colac, so
really
Well,
bright.
indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. What about at gigs? I remember I went to a Dropkick Murphys gig once where the guitarist, got it on with one of the guys in the front row. Actually, started punching on.
Well, that's what happens at you unruly Ska type people.
Oh, that's not ska.
No, they're punk.
That's
They're
Celtic
Oh,
punk.
that's proper punk.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Celtic. That's paddy punk. That's
Yeah.
Celtic punk.
There's
yeah.
no happy vibes. It's just punch.
I mean, you're both performers. You're both on stage. Have
Yeah.
you ever got to that stage between you?
Yeah.
Years ago, some guy stood there flipping the bird at my brother,
yeah.
right, and he kicked him in the face.
Your brother,
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah,
Jeez. Matt's got a history.
Well, hang on. What side are you taking here? The guy in the crowd flipping the bird right in his face while he's
you
singing.
just mentioned Matt for the
Yeah.
second week running.
Yeah,
And-
but this guy was lucky I didn't get my bass and belt him in
Yeah.
the cheek, because another 3 seconds and that's
Yeah.
what was going to happen.
But Matt, had a few drinks and started playing Rattle and Hum for incessantly. And now we're here. He's kicked a punter in the face.
Yeah, well, that he had that coming. Yeah,
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, completely.
I think playing Rattle and Hum was worse.
Easy,
So have the Resignators got into any strife? Addiction 64, because they were a bit unruly in their day.
No, however, our old bass player Naff, after shows. Oh, and Dittman. Dittman and Naff together are a terrible combination. We're in Queensland. Finished a show. Dittman's his arm's in a sling. He'd broken his arm and he was playing the trumpet with his arm's broken, so it's in a cast, and he's playing his trumpet out like this. And we've gone out of the gig and we're all talking, and he just goes up to this random person in the street and says, "High five for cancer, mate." Straight up. And this guy turned around and went, "I lost my mum last week."
Oh, well done.
And
Very well done.
yeah, and then it was on. And the worst thing was Naff, who's possibly the worst at fighting in history, thought, "I'll go in and save the day."
Oh, so that actually caused the fight, the cancer.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's ridiculous. He didn't know his mum had cancer.
Wow.
You know.
Whose side are you taking there, Rob?
Yeah.
I'm on the right side.
High five for cancer is not, a great thing to be sprouting about.
Well, it's
in the street.
It's
Yeah.
a joke. I mean, come on.
Did you say that was in Brisbane again?
That was in Brisbane.
That Dropkick Murphys gig was in Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Oh, Matt hasn't been to Brisbane, has he, much?
Brisbane?
If he wants to get in trouble, I suggest Brisbane. I've been locked up.
I've been there many times. Big Sound. Was up there just last year.
Oh, okay.
You go Fortitude Valley, man. I tell you,
That's
nowadays, if you go there on a Saturday night, it is horrendous.
It's a brothel.
It's always been
It's
horrendous.
awful.
Yeah, no, and there's no wind. No wind gets in, so when people vomit in the street, the whole of Fortitude Valley
The
smells
humidity
like
just
Hey,
all comes
vomit.
together.
People are leaving that there for the tramps, man.
For the tramps.
That's a hot meal for the tramps.
Tramps, homeless. Is that
Homeless,
what you mean?
sorry, tramps in
Whatever the
Britain.
PC word is.
Winos.
Not relevant. Yeah,
But
which is
I think we refer to them now as the homeless.
All right, well,
Oh.
it's been a good little show, lads. I think we can wrap it up.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So we've got an hour. We've got plenty.
That's fantastic.
All right, so
Jeez.
that's obviously going to be cut out, and we'll go back again.
No, we keep all that
We'll
rubbish
keep all
in.
that rubbish in.
I'll keep all the
the
outtakes.
Christmas show.
Yeah.
Francis, it's been a great pleasure having you in.
Thank you very much for having me.
Anything else
Coming in,
now?
yeah,
Sorry,
absolute
sorry I
bonus.
didn't have a beer for you.
That's
this
okay.
occasion.
Water's fine.
Water's fine on this occasion.
Yeah.
And 365 Days of Sport. What's up next weekend? Next week, what do we got?
We got Beaten Path playing live.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, I'll endeavour to find something else to
Yes.
make sure that doesn't happen.
What have we got coming up?
I've actually got one lined up. I've got Jordan Garuccio from the drummer from my band.
Yes.
He's just taken out Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's going to get his third Dan black belt trainer along. We're going to have a little combo, beginner and amateur, sort of.
Beautiful.
Professional and amateur, sort of.
What you're gonna do jiu-jitsu?
Well, definitely
On the radio?
not. Definitely not. Yeah, on the radio. Yeah, jiu-jitsu's great on radio.
So you've offered to joust, you've offered to skydive, now you're offering for jiu-jitsu.
I didn't offer to skydive, but
here we go.
I said I'd do jousting for 15 grand for one pass.
Yeah.
I'd do a skydive if they paid me $1,000. Jiu-jitsu, 50 for one belt.
Cents?
Dollars.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so everything's got a price.
We saw a jiu-jitsu tournament, didn't we?
We did.
Los Angeles.
That's why I thought it would be good for the show.
Oh, nice.
Because we got some insight. Yeah.
We do. It's amazing what we know.
Cheers, all. Thanks. See you next week. 365 Days of Sport.
It is